What's up, everybody? What's going on? Uh, Happy Thursday. What we got here in the chat, everybody? Evil Black Cat. I haven't seen that guy in a while. Says, what is up, people? It is I, Evil Black Cat, here to bring you all bad luck, except Marania. She gets the good luck. And here's Marania right there to collect all the good luck. Hello, Marania. And hello to Cheeseburger and Comics, and anybody who else might be watching. Got about, what, I think 11 books tonight. Somewhere on there. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But and a magazine. So I guess we'll just get this going. Right. So my number 11. Well, I'm not really counted. I have 10 books, and then this is the magazine I got. So I'm gonna take it out so you can look at it. This is a reprint of the original, the Robert H. Stories back in the day. I got, of course, I had to get this cover, to get the Boris cover. So it's pretty much just a reprint of, and now in color, of the original Seven Sword. So you get the Frost Giant's daughter, ogres, nymphs, and rock stars. With Patrick Zurcher. You also have Barry Smith's story. Beautiful rendering of Robert E. Howard's poem of Conan's Homeland, established in the artistry of Tim Conrad. And then, yeah, he had a Roy Thomas story here with John Buscema art. And these are the first time these are being reprinted in color instead of the original black and white. Ooh. So you get some original stories and, yeah, just reprinted in color, which I love. And I love this. I mean, I would love to see that in some of the 2000 AD stuff. But, yeah. So I had to pick it up. I was like, cool. And then here's some other. All right. So I don't know if they're going to keep doing the rest of these. Yeah. Says and then says here next issue special Sword and Sorcery features pinups and more in the fabulous color in the second issue of Seven Sword of Conan Reforged. Where I guess they're going to keep redoing these. So if you're looking to collect these and you've never collected them before, now they're in color. Maybe that, and I'm guilty of that. Sometimes I don't like black and white as much, but I've actually, as I've gotten older now, I'm like, I don't mind it. But back in the day, I was just like, man, like this isn't the 1950s. Or even or whatever. I don't want a black and white and stuff. Because like I'd rather have color print. Because I think sometimes it pops more in color. Like Walking Dead was a perfect example for that. Not all of it's Roy Thomas stories, but yeah. But yep, that's why I got that. And all right, get on to number 10. Number 10. Is Lazarus Fallen. Greg Rucka, what a great guy. Leaves all his TDS in the back of the book and the interview parts. Doesn't put it into the actual story, but it's still in the book. And even though I'm really enjoying the story, it's wrapping up a conclusion that started like this is a story he started like in like 2011 or 2013. It's finally wrapping up. But then he asked the back of the book start going TDS and just talking shit about Trump and like, what does that have to do with the book? Nothing. He says, I'm writing this on Labor Day weekend in the U.S., August 30th, and it seems a good time to have another checkpoint in the national and global descent into authoritarianism, fascism, and autocratic rule. This morning's excitement began with speculation that the current occupant of the White House.
Oligarchical.
Yeah, it's garbage. Gargle.
Oligarchical.
Yeah. This morning's excitement began with a speculation that the current occupant of the White House had finally shoved off his at his mortal coil, but it turned out he only canceled all his engagements in the last 2 days because reasons. He showed his face to go golfing with his granddaughter. Hopefully, there was a chaperone present I'm sorry, Greg Rucker. You're confusing Trump with Joe Biden, who actually did this shit to kids and sniffed them and all that crap and fondled them. You know. Yeah. I'm just like, it's who gives. It's. I'm just tired of like the TDS in the back. And then I was looking at an article on Bleeding Fool this morning. I was going through. It was from like September, but an interview with Greg Rucka talking about how he nearly killed himself in 2009, or the early 2000s because people were being mean to him. He was used. How Marvel screwed him over, wasn't giving his page rates or whatever. And then he went to DC, and DC, Jeff Johns was mean to me. He told me one thing and then do another. And people were using me. Boo fucking who? He is a uber piece of shit. Complaining about others when he goes and does the first thing he got comics for DC. I'm gonna do Gotham City Centrals. I'm gonna turn Renee Montoya gay because I have a lesbian fetish. Fuck off. He's, like I said, his greatest contribution to I'm guessing was probably what, Wonder Woman. What is the best Rucka story?
Okay, before his mental problems, and he clearly has them.
Still has them
manifested. He was an excellent writer. His Wonder Woman run, pre New 52, was excellent. Gotham Central, I don't know what the breakdown between Brubaker and Rucka was, but the book was excellent. Yeah. His work during No Man's Land and Batman, excellent.
Yes.
At one point, he was a very good writer. Now, it doesn't matter that he leaves the TDS out of the book. He's not nearly the writer he once was.
No, he's not. And he's also leaving in the book. It's just not in the story. It's in the back of the book, as I said, pointed out.
But, it's Greg, stop using the back of your books. It's therapy sessions.
I know.
Just get some fucking help.
And his reason why these books are late is because, he wants to put as many issues as he can out before he releases it. No, it's because just admit it, that you have a mental breakdown. You can't write because you're too angry because Trump's actually helping the country right now. And if you disagree with me, good. Go ahead. But attack other creators and in the same sentence say you also had a mental breakdown, maybe they're not the reason. Maybe you are the reason. Go seek professional help.
If you have a problem with everyone, maybe your main problem is in the mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's enough oxygen spent on that fool.
All right. Going into my number 9 this week is Superman. Tie-in is this is Superman number I believe 31, right? Yeah, 31. Tie into the KO. I grabbed this cover because it just reminds me of old school, kind of like DC. Plus, I love that dark side on the top of there, and the old school looking Booster Gold goggles from the Baja era. I believe Animal Man, doesn't he have goggles like that too?
I think so.
Yeah. This is the cover here. I did not read KO. I probably will never read KO. I just picked it up because I saw that this might have a story outside of KO and do some more stuff. But it just seems like, okay, from what I get from the story is the fact that Superman was talking to Time Trapper, aka Old Man Doomsday from the future, whatever, or alternate, whatever, reality. And he says that, Kal-El, it's like, I need you to come in and fight this battle. And like Clark's like, why the hell do I need to fight this battle? Even Lois is like, why this KL thing? What the hell is this bullshit, stupid fighting? And I learned as I was going through, there's other heroes, even Wally West, like, why are we fighting this stupid thing? What is the point of this? When you have like characters in books, comic books, questioning the absurdity of this event, maybe it's time to not do that event. Maybe we should focus on something else. But anyway, so basically Darkseid is coming, and and then Doomsday says like, hey, I found through my vision, you guys lose, and Darkseid takes over Earth. So what do they decide to do? Well, he starts to go to Mercy Graves, Supercorp, and he talks to her, but only after he goes to the Fortress of Solitude. He hasn't been there since the whole Amanda Waller event, which I did not even read. Don't even care. That was the other dumb thing they had going on. I guess everybody's powers got stolen by Amanda Waller. Okay. So he goes there, talks. I believe, what is his name? Telex, and says, "Sorry, I've been busy." And he goes to talk to his father. He says, "What do you know about Darkseid?" And he's like, "I don't know anything about Darkseid." And then like, "What do you know about this Omega? Guy? King Omega?" And it says, "There's no knowledge of our King Omega in our records." So he's like, "Okay," and it's about it. He said because space. He said, he asked him, "I know you're not really, you're not really my father, but why do you don't save me?" He says because your mother and I loved you and wished you saved, save you. He's like, well, Kyle's like, what about a larger shuttle? And his dad's like, well, like space travel was illegal at the time, and we only had enough supplies to get you. He's like, well, what if you had more? So what's this leading up is that Kal-El wants to basically evacuate Earth in case they lose, because he has a feeling they're going to lose. So goes to see Mercy Grave, and she's like, "I need your help," And she's, well, funny, we've been working. We talk about it. We've been studying Brainiac's ship and stuff. How you shrink down cities. So they built one apparently, and this is our interstellar travel. It was originally it said during Supercorp. We were going to use it for our scientists can go explore the stars and all stuff. But he's like, well, he's like, I need you to get like 9 more of these. We're gonna basically go the 2012 route, movie, and create arcs that get people off of Earth. And I love Lois like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, it's the only way. And of course you got Supergirl there. Supergirl's like, I know it's crazy. This all sounds Lois. A fight tournament to save us in the world is nuts. And she's like, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but after that, what Time Trapper showed us, I believe the future. I about the future. I believe him. And she's like, you mean old man Doomsday, the guy who killed you, Clark? This is what he wanted to all along, for you to go along with his same plan. And he's like, Clark's like, oh, John Henry and Steelworks are working together with Mercy to put together evacuation shuttles. He's like, and I love Lois. He's like, are you fucking with me? You're planning to lose. So I love how she calls him on his bullshit. And he's like, well, we could, and if I do, I need to make sure everyone's safe. I can't fight if you guys are not safe. So everyone evacuates. His parents had shown up because they're supposed to come out and hang out with them. So they decided to drive over when Clark didn't respond back. And now they're going to spend time with them. They had a day just being a family. And then, so they're all going to leave. Now Clark's going to go fight. And Lois is like, don't worry about me. I'll be fine. You go do what you need to do. You make up. When everyone is set to evacuate, Lois decides to say, yep, sorry, Mercy, I got to go do something else. Doing what because something wasn't sitting well with her. She goes into the Fortress of Solitude and talks to Jor-El and asks questions about, okay, there's this illegal stuff. You guys run out records, keep records out. What about it? So this triggers something to happen in the Fortress of Solitude.
Jor-El was alive.
This is the construct that's been inside the.
No.
I don't know. I didn't watch or read the Superman War thing, or whatever Bendis crap. But this triggers because there are questions. Well, it turns out there's also his mom as a construct. We saw his mom being a construct in the Superman and Lois TV show series, so I'm not sure if this was based off of that, like an idea from that, or she's ever been used before in the Force Solitude. But anyway, she says, I was a historian of Krypton, and your questions triggered my algorithm, my program. I can answer your stuff. And she pretty much says, like, it's like she says, and while there's no records of Darkseid, all the worlds Krypton encountered had a legend about a destroyer, the end of all things, a dark Omega presence that wanted to control all. There must be an alpha. I believe Doomsday is to be created. Was created to be that. His powers of recreation and rebirth are direct opposition to the everything in King Omega is. She's like, Solus is like, wait, Doomsday is alpha. Clark needs to know and needs to talk to you about how am I going to get you to him? And of course, something happens in here. Someone crashes into the Force of Solitude. Turns out it's Superboy Prime, who we thought had betrayed Clark and went with and joined the Legion of Dark Side, Legion of Superheroes, whatever they're called. Basically the bad guys. And he said, yeah, I pretty much came back. No, I need to reach out to Clark. And Cosmic Boy, or Sun Boy, whatever his name is called. I think that's what his name. Yeah. He basically shows up and he basically blasted him with fire. And he's like, wait, why are you smiling? Because Lois' powers have been reignited. Superwoman is back.
Yay.
I know. How does that even work? She's not Kryptonian. I thought her powers were stolen from Zod. So, is this magic bullshit? Was her DNA altered when she got the powers somehow from a Kryptonian? Did Clark leave some of his DNA in her when they had kids? So she transformed? I don't know. But, yeah. Comic books. Yeah. So Superboy Prime they're gonna team up with Lois as it continues. And then I saw this. We're actually getting 4 legendary stories, 2 colors, 1 timeless hero, 40-page one shot. And it's supposed to come out. Red and blue special. I was like, cool. Paul Dini, Dan Abnett, Michael Walsh, and I'm like, oh, Rainbow Raw. Why the fuck is she on there? And then you have Mirka Andolf, Caitlin Yarsky, and then of course, Christian, they do the cover. I don't know. I might get this. I don't like Rainbow Raw, but I do love Paul Dini, and I do love Dan Abnett. I don't know who Michael Walsh is, but I might pick that book up. But yeah. But yep, and then there's a questionnaire, like a 20 questions with Philip Kennedy Johnson in the back. Like I said, I'm not really big on the KL thing. Maybe it'll be great, but yeah. And hello to Krauser who's watching over on Twitch. That's right, we're live on Twitch right now as well as live on YouTube. YouTube is our main channel, so if you want to watch all our backlog videos, just go right here on YouTube. All right, 6. Number 8 is Moon Knight, Fist of Khonshu, or Moon Knight Volume 4, I guess. And then Jed McKay volumes, because it's like, isn't this the 4th title? I lost count. They keep changing the subtitle. Anyway, so this is the Haunting of the Wrecker, Part 2, the Wrecker from the Wrecking Crew. Ghosts were trying to haunt him and trying to kill him. And we're preview this scene all years ago when a firefighter witnessed what happened with this was during the fight with the Wrecking Crew and Doctor Strange. And it turns out that he's in a support group. And of course, this is where Moon Knight's sitting in because he wants to learn more about everything that's going on with all that in the past. And then we have Layla, Scarlet Scarab. If you remember her, she was the love interest in the Moon Knight show. That's pretty much everyone's forgotten about now, because even Disney doesn't want you to remember. Because I don't think we're getting another season for that. It was just kind of like one and done. Good. All right, so Moon Knight ends up feeling he's betrayed, and and it's like, how can I be stupid? And then she's like, and he says like, I mean, you fool me. It's like she's like, no, you've been to fool yourself, and just. Yeah. And the reason that Mark is so bent up on that is because he knows his own past sins. Him and Layla used to be hired killers, and they used to go and kill people. So they go back and they talk to Wrecker, and Wrecker says, well, dude, I was possessed. I had a Madam Mask could give me a new crowbar. And so all this happened during it was a Surgeon Supreme, the Mark Waid, I think, run. When he had to fight against the Wrecker Crew. And of course, Tigra does not trust him, and also does not like Layla because Layla is an ex-lover of Mark. So So they're gonna go talk to Doctor Strange, but of course, then I'm reminded what's going on in the current Marvel right now, where Doctor Strange is not so supreme and he is off somewhere else. So this is another punch in the gut from Marvel for me. Thank you, because now we got to deal with Clea, his wife, who basically is going to. Well, first of all, I'm just tired of her freaking flirting with everybody. You're married, but according to what was it, Steve Fox or someone else, what it was, they said like, "Oh, we're in an open marriage." Ugh. Anyway, so they sit down and talk, and like she's like, "Well, dude, I can't tell you if if there's a magic user or whatever, because I don't track people. I'm not a a doctor or a surgeon, because basically Mark believes that someone's just controlling these ghosts. Normally, because normally ghosts are not that aggressive, and so she's like, well, I can move you guys into the astral form, so you guys can go find the magic user yourself. And I love the art in this; it's great, but the story is kind of weak right now, especially when you find out who the actual person is that's causing all this mess. We also get a little talking about conversation between Layla and Mark, and Mark wants to know, when you died, why you came back, why didn't you say it's well, she's like, well, for one thing, it wouldn't be right of me, you have a whole new family and everything. And then she's like, you also got that crazy cat lady who might claw my eyes out. I didn't want to say anything. All right, so then it leads them to this house where all this activity is. They're still in the astral form. So after finding this, they go back to their normal forms. Shows them coming into the same house, and one thing I love about the art here is just, I love how they illuminate his cape and everything. And it's revealed that the villain actually is dun 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 the corrupt firefighter from before, the one who is mad, the one who had problems. He wants revenge on the Wrecker. And he's been practicing and dabbling in dark magic all this time. Kind of a weak sauce reveal for the villain. I was hoping it might be somebody else, but what can you do? Who knows? As far as I would have awesome to have another major villain, but it was a nobody. This feels like, okay, bad guy of the week, but this time it's not a monster. The real monster, humans. Number 7, Justice League Unlimited. Right now, the Earth is basically being attacked by all these powered up villains. For whatever reason, KO, all these villains now have super amped up powers, and they don't know why at first, but because everyone is evacuating. So Batgirl and the Atom here are having a conversation as they're walking, and also shows what's going on, in Rome. Jessica's there trying to help people. And then you have Fire and Ice trying to help people evacuate. And then Gotham City, and Batgirl kind of says, kind of feels useless being here because we don't have really much. We can't do much. But then someone decides to rob a bank. Turns out it's Polka Dot Man, reminded of that lame villain from the lame movie Suicide Squad. And they touch him, and he's like, he tells them not to, and he explodes. So the Atom and Batgirl are now in critical condition. But before that even happened, they had a conversation about, and the Atom was very anti-smoking advertisement. And I was just like, why is this not anti-smoking being brought up in a conversation? It was, I'll read you what he said. He said, yeah. She's like, Adam's like, the Titans say that between boom tombs and magic trips to the microverse and such, we've cleared about 62% of the planet so far. I think we're saving the lawyers and tobacco executives for last, but don't quote me. Why is that even in the book? I don't want. Oh, lawyers are bad. Tobacco people are bad. No one's smoking in the book, so why would people care about that? You taking cigarettes out of the book, so you don't need to remind people that cigarettes are evil. If you want to do that, put cigarettes in the mouths of villains, and make it say only evil people are smoke. If you're going to do that crap, it just brought me out of the book. So then we get this cool page spread. I love this. All right. So then after that, there's a chance now. People are speculating that, well, Batgirl's crippled again. She's going back to being Oracle. But what do we know about comic books? You don't know jack shit because they decided what they want to do on a whim, and you have to accept it. All right. Then there's a conversation between Renee and Ted. And then, of course, Mr. Trick's like, all these heroes and all the villains are basically amped up now, and they're fighting with one another. He says, I believe there's a reason for this. Back in the day, there was a demon called Negron or Necron, Neron, that's what it was, an Uber demon. He says, I believe that these villains made a deal with him in order, because in the past they did before. That's how they get amped up, and because he said there's a reason they're not leaving, because they have a safe haven in hell. I don't know how that makes sense, but
I think that was the Underworld event in '97. I think maybe.
Yeah. A few years ago, Uber demon named Neron made deals with Earth villains to amp them in failed exchange for their souls. Yeah. But so he basically, since we have time displaced heroes, he decides to put them in a team. We got in the past Warrior, Guy Gardner. Was kind of cool to see. A Power Girl, Aquaman with a harpoon hand, Superman Blue. Then we have Qatar, Gold Hawk of the planet Adreno, and then out of nowhere, we have freaking all this time I've been Tim Drake Batman. I'm so sick of the Tim Drake Batman. It was horrible when it came out. I don't need it back again. Remind me and how horrible Future's End was. I don't need it, and because all we want is Terry. I don't need Tim, and then we have Alan Scott, and then of course we have Dr. Fate. I believe is Sophie, and then Owl Woman, or aka Night Owl. Remember her? His ex-wife was a lawyer, so maybe that for that. Yeah, but did she smoke too? Is that why he hates smokers? I don't know. It was just did not need it in there, but that's my opinion. But puts them all together. So, and basically, they all kind of, it's revealed that you guys are temporal kind of like things. So eventually, well, you guys will fade from existence, because right now time's all fucked up thanks to Darkseid. Darkseid's been over manipulating time in his image, so he could be so he's like all in control. And he says, like, you guys are pretty on a suicide mission. So one of the things that hit me the hardest in the whole entire book is Guy. This is Guy from back in the 90s. I think it was the Warrior series was it? Yeah. And he has no idea that him and Ice aren't together anymore. And he goes like hit on her and stuff. And of course, you got the classic get fired, basically calling him out, calling him pig and stuff. And Guy's like, hey, and it's like, what's up? I think, I figure that you and I are together now, in this now. But she's like, no, we haven't. And he's like, what? She's and it's just horrible. She's like, no, not anymore. And he's like, oh, is okay then. Sorry, bothered you. And he kind of leaves, and he's kind of like pissed off now. I still say that's one of the tragic events that those two are not together. I thought the way they brought him up, introduced him in the Baja era.
Yeah, but Guy Gardner's in space 100% of the time now. So
yeah. So it's like I said, Aquaman, harpoon hand goes into the watchtower, goes in the room in here, and gets to see everything, all his future and everything. And the first thing he sees is the baby, because I believe this is the Aquaman that lost his kid. The kid died, didn't he? In the past, when they had the harpoon.
One time, yeah.
Yeah. So he learns that this new Aquaman version here actually has a daughter and stuff. And Martian Manhunter says, like, you're not supposed to be in here and stuff. But he said, like, it's just basically, he's basically, when they learn that they basically are gonna die anyway, he's at this point, he's like, at least, there's a version of me that's happy. And so the Dr. Fate, Sophie gives the other Hawkman, gives him a translator spell finally. Because before, Sophie was just doing the translations for him. He says, the one culturific told me where I am. He claims I'm an ancestor of the one you call Hawkman. Yeah, basically, and he just like wants to go home, and he says, and Andrina, because Owl Girl is like, tell us about Andrina and stuff, and if we can help and stuff. It's her and Sophie, and he's like, no, we're a non-violent race. One of us who achieved this, those of us who have achieved a certain spiritual level are gifted with a special sight. We can literally see the hopes, desires, and pains of others. It has made us unusually sympathetic species. And of course, Night Owl makes a creepy joke about it. It's like, yeah, or you can basically are a big, huge creep. The other big thing here is you get to see Power Girl. This is from the past, and she leaves a few streamers to herself. She says, "You know what? It's like she says, it would have been cool to meet you and tell me, but they tell me you're off in some tournament. Knowing us, I'm sure we'll be throwing elbows all day long." But she says, like, she basically leaves message saying, "We run hot, you and me. We lost more than cousin Superman who did. We all lost our homeworld, but then we lost our entire parallel reality, everything we knew in great crisis. We turned that tragedy into anger, and it's always evident, but it's always there." But she said, "Kara, something about knowing you're going to die soon, for sure, no way out, puts life in perspective. All of a sudden, I don't feel that angry anymore. I feel scared, but yes, I also feel strangely at peace knowing that I lived a good life on purpose. Hopefully you're not so much, but if you are still angry, Kara, hear what I'm saying, all okay? I'm proof that clarity and tranquility, they're achievable." Kind of sad because these characters are fated to die, even though they're real, but they're not real because they're time displaced. So they send them into a portal. There's a transmission they play from Airwave here. And he basically says, the time ship waiver, it says we counter Darkseid's forces, and at the point, our shadow attacked, demons attacked, heavily damaged to our engines. Temporal firewall is preventing our send help. So he sends them into a boom tube. Boom tubes were not really meant to do that kind of travel like that, so they modified one. And I don't know about Zach. Zach shows up when he wants to. Geekeasy will not be. He has to work, so he'll probably show up if I go past probably closer to 10:30, but which might be the case. But yeah, they show up and now they're in hell, and then of course we get the preview for Titans last week. But yeah, so basically right now they ends up with them. This Reg Tape team are now going to be fighting in hell. I don't know. I might stick with this book. Like I said, as long as I just pretend he didn't say my name's Tim Drake, I'm just saying it's Terry. He's got the mask on, everything. But all right, number 6. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Saturday Morning Adventures, Return of the Mutant Gen Man. Basically, in the middle of a restaurant, he reverts himself. His power back in the day, he could turn himself into anything he wanted. But for some reason, now when he touches people, he mutates them. And now Shredder wants that power because Shredder's like, well, we don't have to, and he tells Krang, we don't have to use any more Mutant Gen. We can just use this guy and create a whole army for us. And so at the TCRI, or basically this is a scientist or lab, or this is where the Turtles go. This guy always has like a cure. He's kind of like the Reed Richards of this universe in a sense. The only power he has is he's smart, and he's found a way to basically cure these people. And he also says I could probably cure Mutant Man or Mutant Man too if he can bring him here. I love this scene here. Cat goes like, "Oh, nice kitty." And he's like, "Oh, I'll pet the kitty," and the kitty turns into like an ice cream cat. So messed up, so silly. And then of course, it's not just a one-off thing because when they're fighting against the bad guys, who basically want them, and Donatello ends up slipping on the cat and then gets caught. So, like I said, this was a fun book. Looking more to it. Because the mutant guy man got knocked into Michelangelo. Of course, after the bad guys kidnapped them, Michelangelo is left mutated. Kind of nasty looking. All I can say is I want that action figure. Make it to an action figure. I want it. All right, on to the top 5. All right. This week's number 5 is Ultimate Spider-Man. Like I said on Tuesday, this book is kind of fallen for me. I mean, I do like they're married and stuff, but knowing that it only has like a couple more issues, it really needs to step up. And I don't think it's gonna wrap up here. It's gonna wrap up and then have Denise Camp, basically do the conclusion. But last issue, we're basically all the Mysterios were getting together, and basically one of them was basically controlled by Negative Man to bring in a bomb and blew them all up. So Harry, it's been 3 months later. Harry's been really upset as far as what's going on, and he doesn't want to focus on it. And we see Superior or Spider-Man, Doc Ock Spider-Man in this, and he's picking up like Chinese food, and he's got his stuff here. At first, I was like, "What the heck is this?" And then I realized that it's just Otto Octavius, and he's got the suit on, but he's also got the Marvel Sony one, the video game version, a little modified. So I don't know why he's wearing the suit, but they're underground. They're with the Mole Man because they're getting ready to upload Jonah and Ben's basic article targeting exposing everything, all the crime, corruption with the Maker and the Syndicate and all stuff with Wilson Fisk. And so they're all having dinner together. Meanwhile, Peter's still up fighting crime for about a year now. He's been fighting against these. They're called the Bullseyes. They're a bunch of those villains or lackeys. So Peter's doing what he does. One of the guys uses his I-beam and actually hits Harry, and Harry actually has an EMP blast that basically, or electrical, or not EMP blast, but basically it's like a electromagnetic thing, and takes him out. And they're called back to go to dinner, but Harry makes a reason. I can't stay and talk to you. I need I'm gonna finish up. I'll be right there though. So Peter goes back to have dinner, and Harry has not revealed to Peter, but he's been talking to on his, because he has like an Iron Man armor basically, so it has an onboard AI, and his onboard AI personality is his late dad, so Norman Osborn, and he's been influenced by his dad. Meanwhile, we get Richard shows up, and he's talking to basically to Otto, and Otto's like, what's the device? And he's like, well, this device here, if we hook it up to we have to hook it up to their the mainframe in Kingpin's office or any of these guys, the Makers, allies, and then we're able to basically erase all information that relates to the existence of Peter, his family, all the allies, all the heroes, and then and not only that, it basically it's going to corrupt their system. Chicharro is just back on the book here. I'm loving the art here. Rico Tamaki is proud with the food. And then, so Peter decides, hey, MJ's talking to him and stuff, basically this is a really cool moment here. They go to have their own private moment with each other, and they had sex. And she's wearing his shirt. Kind of lines with the Jace Campbell cover. There was one with Mary Jane wearing the shirt, and there's another one with what's her name, Black Cat. But they have a conversation and stuff, and Mary Jane says like sunsetting sunsetting on another day in paradise, and he's like, yeah, some paradise. We're living underground, hiding from a world run by a madman who really want to kill us. She's like, hey, don't ruin the mood, Tiger. He's like, sorry. He's like, this is perfect. It's just that. She's like, what? All day long, I've had this feeling gnawing at me. She's like, what? I feel something terrible is going to happen soon. And we get to see the Felicia Hardy, or Black Cat. She's approached by their son, Richard, his costume, because he was basically convinced by Otto into going in there and doing this, even though he's not supposed to. That's why he got grounded. But he says, like, hey, I know you want to get back before it happened to your dad, but we can team together and take down Kingpin on them. I just need to install this device into their computer, upload the virus, and let's work together. And then we get to see Harry, and he's talking to someone, and they go. It says like, is he in there? It's like, it's a green bubble. They're like, what the heck? Who's he talking to? And he's like, yeah. And he's like, yeah, he's in there. It's like, doesn't care what I've done, It's like, it's a time to go in then. I'm guessing he's targeting Mr. Negative. But at the end, though, and this is a really big spoiler, who Harry's talking to. So, 3, 2, 1. Looks like all the Mysterios merged together into one. So all Gwen Stacy and Wesley, Mr. Negative's sister, and Joe Robertson, and a bunch of other ones are all merged into one. Because it says, like, are you with us? Are you with us? Are you with us? Are you with me, Harry? And that's how it ends. Kind of sad. But we also know that Mysterios have always been known to have illusions. So I'm hoping that's not that's not the end result. They're all merged together. I think that I'm hoping it's just one. But we'll find out. Number 4. It's Green Lantern, number 28. Going through the rubble, where the Stormbreakers, basically where our Starbreakers had their own base of operations, villains. They find the Book of Oa while going through it. And I love this, how like Guy has been turned into kind of like a nerd. He's like, and like Jojo Wong comes like, dude, you're a nerd. He's like, no, I'm not a nerd. It's like, I'm just a guy who really loves history. And he's going over it, and he's like, there's a new page appeared in the book that wasn't there before. Hal Jordan's name's appeared in there. If you remember the last part of the actual Starbreaker War, or whatever it's called, Stormbreaker or Starbreaker, whatever it's called, I want to say Starjammer, but that's wrong. The last event they had crossed over, and it was in Green Lantern Corps. The last issue, it was revealed that Krona is back now. Was going to merge his body into Hal Jordan, a body created for Hal Jordan, like a duplicate, but it got damaged because I was interrupted. So part of that is his plant or conscious went into the Guardians, and so that's what's going on with that. And then we see Hal, who's in Coast City, and is this got a guy basically apparently tried attacking Coast City, and so what Hal does, gives him a tour of the city, and it tells you how great it is and everything, and scaring the crap out of the guy. But then Hal gets a call, so he needs to come back to Oa immediately. And so get the construct of the race car, and they take off. Meanwhile, I love Jeremy Adams. We have I believe it was Odyssey, I think her name was. And we have Kyle, and we have Superboy Connor. And Connor's like, dude, we gotta time to see how long it takes for you to power back up. If you go White Lantern, he's like, dude, I can hurt you. He's like, no, dude, I'm Superboy. I can take it. So he goes White Lantern mode, and pretty much like Super Saiyan mode, whatever. And let's just say Connor regrets it because he gets like blasted out into space. And Hal shows like, dude, what are you guys doing? He's like, nothing, And I was just like, dude, turn it off. And we finally get to see Kyle back in his normal like outfit. This whole entire series, we haven't seen him in his normal plain clothes. We've been seeing him in his Green Lantern uniform. So it's kind of cool to see him in that. I can't remember the last time I've seen Kyle like that, dressed in normal clothes. Was it the 90s in his series? Probably. But then, so then of course we get Hal showing up and talking to Jessica Cruz, and he kind of like starts charming her, and she's like, yeah, whatever, because he calls her. He's like, she's like, she's teasing him. He's like, dude, you're slowing down in your advanced age. He's like, I wish, esteemed core leader Cruz. He's like, she's like, I guess that's better than a guy calling me boss lady all day. It would have been better if he said girl boss instead of or guy. But anyway, we get this another like a Doc Ock kind of thing of guy construct, and he's going through the pages, and then he's like, dude, you need to look at this. And so when Hal ends up looking at the page where his name is on it, he gets hit with some kind of like mental like attack, but he doesn't remember it though. So they rush him to the ER thing. The Guardians know exactly what's going on, and they're worried because they know things. And then now that they fear that Hal Jordan now has found out the secret, and they're preparing something omnibus, or devious, whatever. Hal decides, you know what? I'm fine. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go talk to Carol. She's at the Watchtower and stuff. I'm just gonna have a date night with her. I'm fine. Because basically Jessica Cruz puts him on he basically sidelads him. And then we get to see Krona, his little the villainous monologue stuff. Guy shows up outside the Hal shows up at the Watchtower and just talks about how lucky he is. I'm just the luckiest guy ever. It's like, man, and then of course Carol sees him. She goes out there. She immediately basically, we get this nice little embrace between them. But then, like, they're interrupted because he has this vision, and it looks the Guardians going against a Hal Jordan. And then we see Krona, some tower, and then so it's just kind of crazy. And of course, at the end, they get a call. They respond to something, and Hal is like, I'm fine. It's like, and she's like, Carol's like, nope, we're busy. But Hal responds, you know what? Green Lantern responding. I'm gonna go do it. And she basically says, like, to herself, kind of tears. She's like, when you get, she's like, I said, I love you, Hal Jordan. I always will. And maybe when you get back, you'll let me know what's going on, because Hal has a habit of not telling everybody what's going on. You also get this preview. It's been going back in the book this week. It's been DCKO Night Fight. It looks like Bruce gets stabbed in his whatever ugly suit he's got, but then he survives because I guess. And then this is where he is wearing some kind of like armor. That's a Kryptonian armor, Darkseid armor. So this is just a Josh Williams signature writing this, and I just feel you're going back to Future State, but he's in Gotham City, but it's not Gotham City. It's a different version. And now, yeah, I don't know. I might read it. I might probably not. I have so much to read. But yeah, and then of course we get another. If you didn't pick up this is this here. So, but it was okay. Like I said, I like Jeremy Adams' writing. It's been a fun story. Looking to see what happened with Carol and Hal and just in general. Speaking of Batman stuff, Immortal Legend the Batman. I mean, number 3 is my top 3 this week. We get Riddler, who kind of looks like Loki a little bit. Side, because he's got the Riddler kind of like ring. They really made this. Kyle Higgins is doing the writing on this, and you have Matt Groom helping out. We have Erica DeRosso and Daniel Bayliss helping out with the art. So basically, they tell you the beginning of this book. It's really cool because remember, comic books were meant for kids. It says in the box here says, as you read through this issue, keep an eye out for this puzzle symbol. When it appears, it means there's a puzzle to solve. You can either try to solve it yourself or keep reading until the very end of the issue to find out how Immortal Legend Batman uncovered the solution. The choice is yours. So it's like an interactive book. I love this. We get to see Batman. Immortal Batman shows up on this planet and then there's this old castle. This girl says oh, it's haunted, and she's flirting with him the whole entire time. And then at the end, as he walks away, she says, oh, and the dude's like, what was that all about? He's like, I have no idea, Mr. Keo, but he's probably not single, right? She's all, enamored by him. He shows up and there's a hologram of the Riddler. There's, and the thing about the note about these characters, all his rogue gallery are pretty much like shadow creatures. So, and he's been hunting and tracking down his rogue gallery. And on this, it goes in the castle here. And again, I love how he's like, oh, you're finally here. You spent so long trifling with the scientist and the deceiver and the brute. I was starting to think you'd never come to find your way here to me. It was fine for a time. I had such fun preparing for your visit. But then when I was done, I got terribly bored. So talks about how he basically just messed with the villagers and he's like, but I do pretty grass. You're here so we can play our game. He's like, no games. You can tell me where I can blast this place apart until I find you. He's like, I am one of the hostages here, and you got to play this game. He has 3 bombs attached to him, and you have pretty much. It says, solve the riddle, enter the answer. A single simple word for each room. The terminal will not only will unlock the next door, it will also deactivate one of the 3 bombs attached to the door. The poor Cading here. Force an exit. Fail to submit the answer within 3 minutes or entering the room. Riddle room, otherwise misbehave. He explodes. So as he goes through, he comes across his book, and they get this. Apparently, this when his parents died, Alfred was a robot. They aided him and would read him bedtime stories. It's a really weird, kind of sci-fi kind of story. And then, of course, there was this book that Alfred used to read him all the time. So now he remembers. It triggers memories. And then we get the riddle. First riddle here. Yeah, so one talks source is a great legend sprung. Speaking now, speak loud. In a meek's coward tongue. And so he goes into the puzzle. This is the first puzzle here. Get this nice wide spread. And so it lets you it lets you look at the thing, the puzzle, and then it doesn't tell you the answer until the very end of the book. And each puzzle is triggering a memory of him. There's a memory of him back when he's talking to his dad, and and he talks about how Thomas Elliott's, his dad was always, there for him. He showed up his stuff. And he's like, well, you know who I am. I'm a surgeon. I have to help people. It's it's my job. I do this not because, I don't love you. It's because it's people need help, And so it goes in the next room here after solving and then it's the next part he has to solve. These are the shadow creatures. Each had different events of time when they, different tragedies, people dying, killed. And he's got to figure that out. And of course, he gets through that and then triggers another event when Bruce was getting beat up when he was first. And then it turns out it was actually Roger Elliott, who was the first Batman Beyond, or not Batman Beyond, but the first Batman in this story. The wielder of the Batman kind of a gauntlet was training him. And basically it's like, dude, you let him come and beat me. He's like, well, you should figure out how to defend yourself, But basically, yeah. And then, of course, we get to the final kind of like puzzle here too. And you're supposed to like it's the alleyway where he sees his parents being gunned down and Pearl stuff. Like I said, I thought this was really clever how interactive it was, and the last one he comes across a box and he throws the Riddler up there and he's like, he's like, don't you want to know? He's like, all your answers they're in this box. He's like, dude, everything you've been trying to like thrown at me is pretty much trying to psychoanalyze me. It's like I know who I am. I don't need your shit. And he basically like the bomb explodes in the revealing the Riddler's shadow creator, the Man of Riddles. It's really cool. I like this. As I said, it's very creative, and he basically Batman has a freaking sword and slices him down the middle and kills him. Yeah. So they all, in this other series, they all know it's Bruce Wayne is the thing. Every rogue knows that Bruce Wayne is the Batman. Yeah. Yep. Marania, this is basically a common writer kind of like merger of Batman story in a sense. This is like it's a Japanese kind of storytelling like that. If it was like a Power Ranger stuff. At the end, they show you Alfred helped him out in the middle of each one and basically gives you like tells you about the answers to the puzzles. A full layout deal. So, like I said, I thought it was pretty cool. And at the end, Batman ends up giving the castle to the guy Caden. And revealing he's like, well, he's like, how can you do that? You're not Bruce Wayne. He's like, well, I am Bruce Wayne, and I give you the castle because he's not gonna return to this anyway. Then we have Roger Elliott there, the former Batman mantle holder. Basically, he's approached by Nightwing and Robin, and said like this guy has been going off, doing this. And he's like, and it's revealed that there's a test or a true or showing basically a true test or a challenge that no one's been able to basically complete before. And oh, that's right, I forgot to give him a link. 1 second. And far as Batman goes, it's like I said, the Roger Elliott's pissed because he thinks that Bruce Wayne's actually going to try and complete this, and it's basically it comes down to his pride is wounded because even he couldn't solve this task past before, and no one's been doing it before, and so he's pissed about that. And let's see here. Yeah, I don't think Zach's showing up. But there's the link, Jeff. All right. Yeah. Wasn't there a flash in recent memory, or that was interactive? You had to turn the book different ways. Yes, that was Jeremy Adams' flash. That had nothing to do. Yeah, that wasn't Williams. That was Jeremy Adams. And that was a long, long time ago. That was probably like 2023. So, but anyway, so he's pissed that Bruce is going to do this, and basically he wants Nightwing and then Robin to help him out go track down Batman because he thinks the Batman is basically Bruce is perversing what he's not. He's going against the rules, the sacred oaths that you're supposed to do, and and Nightwing says, "Well, fuck you." Here's the one thing you should also know about these mantles: we always support each other. You gave up being the Batman, so it's revealed that that Roger talks to Thomas and saying that Bruce may well have company at the time you find him. So Thomas Wayne's alive in this apparently. Or it's Thomas Elliott. I imagine it's probably Elliott. But he says, like, He's like, is like, as he says, Father, that's fine, Father. Let him bring them whoever he wants. It won't matter. It's like, it turns out I won't have to find him though. I know where his final target is, and for his long-awaited return to Gotham. I was wondering if this series was actually going to go anywhere in Gotham City at all, because it's been all over the place. It's been intergalactic stuff, so it's been, like I said, it's a really, really fun series, different. All right, number 2 is Invisible Man. Invisible Man, oh my gosh. Between this and another book that's been number 1, they're interchangeable. But as you can see on here, it literally is what he's doing in this book. So he's been experimenting on dogs and stuff, turning invisible, and he's been also living out his sick fantasies where he's like pretending that he's invisible by dressing up, walking out. And turns out he abducted one of the prostitutes, and and they don't really say what he did, but he probably did something. Of course, we get this nice splash page. Tinian is tying in where has just been awesome with this book. There's only one more issue, but yeah, and it's just every day he meets with his fiance, and he's like, it's like I noticed you've been Father tells me you haven't been working in your lab, you've been going out, and where you been going? He's like, well, I couldn't deal with Kemp's interference stuff, my work is delicate, so he basically turns out he reveals that her father is not only does he pay for his apartment he lives in, but also pays a medium wage or whatever. So he decided to take that money and get another little place where he's basically been particularly using experience for, and shows him how he talks. Well, that's what his fantasy is. Why he's been going out dressed in the scarf and pretending that what it would be like to be invisible. And he talks about how occasionally I would walk in a busy pub and sit at the corner table watching others come and go. I would sit very still, and as long as I didn't draw attention to myself, I was unbothered. And he talks about pretending how he would basically go up to people and just laugh with their jokes, and then if I wanted to, I would just go rob somebody and kill them, and no one would ever be able to accuse me because they didn't see anyone. He's basically confronted by the doctor, his boss. He's like, it's like and this is part of the book that is touching back into the movie, where he actually was asked about the substance monocaine that he's basically been ordering in bulk, and he says the concern is like that monocaine pretty much is very mind altering a drug. It makes the reception violent. It's very hostile and horrible drug, and it's very dangerous. Just having it in the room, it could cause you can have an accident really easily. And he's like, dude, he's like, I need that, dude, or something. He says, cause basically Jack says, dude, we handle all types of horrible drugs, and he's like, why do you care about that? He's like, well, to the ends that I approve and monitor, Jack, so I can be certain that dangers are outweighed by the benefits. And Jack has been fantasizing this whole entire book series about killing this guy. He's had fantasies, hallucinations. And so he ends up basically going out to dinner with his boss and then his fiance, and he talks about how, and you get to see where he talks about how basically he needs his privacy. He's tired of being under this guy's thumb. And this guy's a chump. He's like his greatest enemies are his boss and Dr. Kemp. And he ends up walking out, and they get to see before when he's back the same alleyway too, and he approaches this homeless boy. And he's like, dude, I don't want to do any funny buzz. He's like, no, I got this place in the bed. You're gonna be my lab assistant. He's like, I don't know anything about science. Well, it's a good thing I know enough for both of us. It is just crazy. So he takes this kid, offers him here, have this glass of wine. The kid gets drugged, knocked out, and he wakes up, and he's handcuffed to the bed, his legs and everything, so he can't leave. And he says eventually it's like, and he gives him the serum. While he goes out, the kid sees his body. His skin's gone. All he is muscle and stuff, and he's freaking out. But he says eventually the kid realizes that where's he gonna go? people shoot him on spot. They think he's a demon, you know. And eventually the kids lets him. And the weeks go on. They kind of settle down. And he keeps experimenting on him. Eventually, slowly, the kid disappears. We can see him in skeleton form, which is very, very creepy. Have a conversation with a skeleton, and you can't see that you can. And then one day he comes in, and he finds out. Well, the kid's still there. It's just that the only thing left was his eyeballs, which you saw right here, actually. The floating there, that's his eyeballs. See, that was the last thing to go before he went invisible. And it's just crazy. And then turns out the kid escaped, but not really, because he hit him in the back of the head and took his glasses, his hat, and the jacket, and a scarf, and decides to leave. There is one final issue left. So like I said, this book, I'm just so pissed. It's only 4 issues. It's a very, very, very good book. And I said it's taking some liberties, but it is faithful to the actual movie, it being a prequel series. But my number 1 book of the week is Sisterhood, number 4 from Hyde Street. Just a tragic story about a girl who basically was murdered. So she goes to see the bride that's in Hyde Street, and basically talks to her about how she wants to be able to get revenge. But then, so basically, her body is now basically linked to 2 souls, not only the soul of her deceased friend, but also and her own. And well, she's been blacking out, and her deceased friend has basically been going, and Violet's been basically killing people, you know. And then the last event, she basically ends up in jail now because, well, they were driving in the car. Sophie took over, Violet took over and murdered everybody. And then when the cops showed up, Violet's like, or Sophie's like, dude, what did you do? How did you kill them? And it's my body. Why did you kill them? And she's like, and it's like you're gonna betray me now. So Sophie blacks out. Violet grabs the cop's gun, and then next you know, she's basically in handcuffs. Now she's in jail. And she's having a conversation with her and just saying, like, you've ruined my life. It's like, what did you ruin your life? She's like, you're betraying me. I was murdered by these people, and you have sympathy for these people? They didn't give a care. They watched me sit there and drown as the ribbon got tighter on my neck. It's like, you have a life to live. I don't. It's like, and just guilt tripping her. So then the cop comes to talk to her. He's like, hey, dude, we know that you murdered these people. It's like, I can't help you unless you help me. And I don't want to see your life wasted. So when she goes into, they bring her into questioning, she says, I'm going to talk. Well, she wakes up, and then she has blood on her hands again. And now the cops are going after her. And then next thing you know, she's finding herself up in, they're blacking out again. She's in a dumpster. And she decides to go back to Hyde Street because she wants to basically get rid of Violet. Violet's running her life. And when she goes to talk to the bride says, well, what do you mean? You made a deal with death. You guys are bonded together forever. Until she said the only way to get rid of Violet is to kill yourself. Once the body dies, there's nothing to go there. So then as they're talking, it's because Violet hears all this too. Violet decides to take over the body. So Sophie is being thrown into the water this time, into the thing, and she's in there with all the people that basically were killed by the other victims from this sorority that were killed too, and they're pretty angry too. And so now Violet's now controlling the body, and she goes to leave, and then she decides she's basically, you see the 2 girls, the main girl who is a spoiled rich girl who's in charge of everything. She's also the reason why Violet died. And the other girl's like, you stupid bitch, because they know that the Sophie is the killer. It's like, our friends are dead because you couldn't fucking just quit being the C word, And I knew you should, and you let her into the group even though we told you not to. And so we see Violet's now in Sophie's body. She's gonna basically burn the whole entire place down, but then she's approached by the girl. At one brief moment, Sophie is able to control her body. She tells, and then you get this really cool art here. And it basically says, "Hey, you need to run, get out of here, run." So she runs, but then Violet says "Hey, the other victims all want revenge too." So they basically pull her back, and then so Violet gets control of the body again, and Violet ends up by basically she's gonna go after, she's gonna pour gas on the girl. Only because of all this shit's going on, the other girl stabbed in the back. And now Sophie's trapped in the void. Violet's in the body and stabbed in the back. And we'll see where this is going to go. Very, very fun book. Looking forward to the next issue. Issue 5 of the final issue, 5 of 5. So that's a really cool cover. But that is it for my books. Hello to Jeff.
Not
much. Read all your books?
Yep, I had them set out here this morning. I put them down on my desk before I left for work this morning. So so all I had to do was change my clothes when I came into work. When I got home. I don't want to have my work clothes on this. So I read one, two, three, part of one, and then all the rest of them I haven't read yet. So let's start out with the ones that I haven't read. Moon Knight. I'm expecting this to be really good because I think this is the last one. No, that was the Hulk that was going to be the last one.
This is Crowbaker, the Record Part 2.
Yeah. But yes, this is I think I started to read some of it, but it's really good. I enjoy the series. I read one story out of here, and it was no, wait, hold on. That might have been the Hello Halloween one that I read. No, I have not read any of this one, but it may or may not be good. I don't know, but this is something I'm really looking forward to. I like this cover, so I got it. This came out a couple of weeks ago. I had to have them order it because by the time I got in, it was gone. Something is killing the children. A monster hunter walks into a bar. I think it's a one-shot.
Well, if you run to a bar, it's a one hit.
Yes. And then Detective 1102. Haven't read. And I really wasn't paying attention to your last review because, yes, I haven't read this one yet. I always save this stuff like this for last. Save one that I know I'm going to really enjoy for last because
it is the best book of the week.
Yeah, it's. I love Hyde Street. Hyde Street's one of my favorite. Any of those, Jeff Johns, except for the I don't do the Rock of Fleeters or whatever it is, and the Halo and Angel.
Well, yeah.
Everything else of them I really enjoyed.
Yeah, this isn't Jeff Johns. This is the Mattel shoot the Stargirl writer, Mattel, and the artist is Layla Lees. But like you said, it's been a really, really good book.
When I say the Jeff Johns things, I just mean the whole.
Yeah.
The whole universe.
Ghost Machine. Yeah, Invisible Man and Sister Hilda are my favorite 2 books of the week. They're.
I think I'm going to wait for the trade on the Invisible Man.
It's really good.
But and then some of the stuff I started to read. This one,
okay, Chris Burns.
I think it's really funny. This is the I guess it's introduced me to Supergirl from Krypton, and also it's the first appearance of Metallo. But it says, "Great guns, a girl flying. It must be an illusion. Look again, Superman. It's me, Supergirl, and all your powers. A girl flying. I mean, wow. I mean, what are they going to do next? Is have a woman drive? I mean, come on.
Yeah,
This is-
it's very misogynist. Yeah,
Huh?
very misogynist back then.
Yeah. It's just fantasy having
Super
women
dick.
fly and drive and shit. But
Well, they are flying. They're just flying over the curb.
yes, same thing. But okay, then we have Hello Halloween. There is R.L. Stein's The Cemetery Kids.
Goosebumps writer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's got The Cemetery Kids.
He's got a story in there. I almost picked it up for that, but I didn't care for the rest of it.
Yeah, it's I've enjoyed some of his stuff. I haven't read any of the other stuff, but that one was actually kind of good. They've got it was a zombie thing, but this was really good. I don't know if you read it.
Yep.
But the last two, I always put stuff that I'm not 100% sure. I don't like near the top. Murder podcast. I don't know if I told you about this. It's people start. You got the group of diverse women who.
Yeah, I didn't think you liked the first issue. You picked it up again?
It was in my box, but
Ryan North, Fantasy Four, and you get picked up.
if I get something and then the next, I'm like, oh, I want to know how it ends, even though it may not be that good. I don't know. We'll see. But
there's online websites for that. I can tell you exactly what happened.
Yeah. You mean I can go do? I can do a Johnny Depp.
You can go to Comic Vine.
Yeah.
I'd say about piracy. What? Why would I say piracy?
Well,
I say Comic Vine, Marvel Comics database, and all that stuff. They tell you exactly, give you a summary of each character, what's happening.
But then there is War Wolf, which by the title, sort of by just the name War Wolf, kind of gave me the impression anyway that it was a werewolf story. But no, to do my Steve Martin impersonation. It's about some guy who's kind of a little. He's just getting beaten up all the time from 1970 on until, he's just, people are walking all over him and he can't keep a job and all that stuff. He finally gets a job as a security guard and he gets to keep it. And then one day he's in a warehouse. It's in 84. And some aliens show up and they're like lizards, but they can't handle our atmosphere and all that stuff. So they can't understand what he's saying. They can't understand what they're saying. And he's just basically kicking their ass because he's getting lucky. And he's like, oh, wrong planet. So he defeats the last two or three of those guys. But then it turns out that there's a whole fleet of them. And so they're landing and he's going to have to go and try and defeat them all. And I'm going to kill every lizard on the planet. It was not going to get the second one. But the one I'm really looking forward to reading is Sisterhood and Moon Knight. And maybe the rest of Action Comics. And Detective. Oh, and then also I got some you may not know of this, but Breen does. Some classic 1980s PI TV.
Making the PI?
No.
Oh, Matt Houston.
Matt Houston. And if you see who that is right there, it's Matt Houston, and that's his lawyer assistant right next to him. Princess Ardala.
Oh,
Would have to be my favorite. Huh?
What, Flash Gordon?
No, Buck Rogers.
Oh, Buck Rogers. Did not watch either one of those.
Yeah, it was the original Buck Rogers series with Gil Gerard. There was
George
Wilma
Gerard?
Deering. Huh?
George Gerard? Isn't that the guy who's in
Yes,
jail?
yes. There's Wilma Deering, who's Erin Gray, who was also in Silver Spoons. She was the good girl, and then there was Princess Sodala, who was in the first season.
Pamela Hensley?
Yes, Pamela Hensley. So I was just totally in love with her. But she did that, and then she did that. She did the first season of Buck Rogers. Then she was in this. Then she got married to some really famous producer, and haven't seen or heard from her since.
Well, she ain't no Erin Gray.
No. She was not on. She was not on V. That was Jade Badler, a different girl. I know my really hot '80s brunettes, but.
Well, Marania, you haven't been on like anything live streams for about a couple months now.
Yeah, it seems like she was.
So that's why you haven't noticed my. Yeah, I changed my tag a long time ago. Yeah. So. Yeah.
But I noticed that you were gone, Marania. I'm glad to see that you're okay. Cause
yeah, she had. She had problems, and then she had to like move to Florida, and then she just had hernia surgery and just got a whole tune up and everything. So she's finally out of the hospital.
Well, to say that she hangs out with us, so that just means that she actually has a little bit of a problem to begin with. Which is not a bad thing, but you know.
She's not really hanging out with us. She's more like supervising. That's why she's the only one with the boot wrench. it's
She's the one that gets to sit there and go, all right, really, people? You're just going to... Kind of like the penguin in the Blues Brothers.
You talking about John Belushi with the whip?
No, the nun at the very beginning. She was,
the one with the stick.
Yeah, they called her the penguin, and she was...
Oh yeah.
Looks like you're up shit creek. Whack! And it was, every time he'd swear, she'd...
Yeah. So watching a video today, speaking of like John Belushi and all his own Saturday Night Crew, I did not really know that they had the Muppets on Saturday Night Live in the first season.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think my favorite John Belushi thing off Saturday Night Live was him doing the Weekend Update, The Luck of the Irish.
Yeah. So the Muppets were actually in Jim Henson for a while. They had they're not the normal Muppets you see like today. These are the ones were made especially for Saturday Night Live. They were the one adult variety. They had their own kind of stick going on, and then there's problems between the cast. Like John Belushi hated the fact there was even Muppets because everybody attributed the Muppets to Sesame Street, kid stuff. Why are they on this crap? Yeah. So and eventually the Jim Henson was offered a deal to do the Muppet Show in the mid '70s. And it'd be filmed in London, so he had to go between London and New York every week to do the show, both shows. And eventually, they were quietly kicked off, or kind of like it wasn't really working. It was Michael Lauren's idea to have the Muppets on there because there's a big thing, and he wanted to do something different because Lauren Michaels. That's what it is. Sorry, yeah, I was really confused. He wanted something, and I'm watching the videos of him, how young he looked. Oh, wow, he was really young in the 70s. And he was basically said, I need something different. Our show's failing in ratings. We need to get more people. We need to get more attention. And the Muppets or not the Muppets, but Sesame Street or Jim Henson was like the biggest thing, everyone was talking about it. So bring it on there. Yeah, they had the Muppets around there. Like, they created their own little fake fantasy world. But eventually, I said, well, the Muppet Show's going on. This led to basically because of this little skit they did on SNL. Yeah. This led to the creation of the movie The Dark Crystal.
Yes, I have that sitting around here somewhere. I remember seeing that before.
Yeah. So that was thanks to that show, the little skits they would do on Saturday Night Live.
And speaking of I don't know what made me the association, but what's his name? I will not be going and seeing the third Tron movie.
Oh, Jared Leto.
Yeah, I will not. I hate that guy.
Oh, he's attached to everything now. He's attached to Master of the Universe, and
I was gonna. Not that I'd go see the Masters of the Universe anyway, but even if I was a fan, I wouldn't go because I'm on a don't go see.
But I don't really blame Jared Leto. I blame the people that are hiring Jared Leto.
Yeah, I mean the same thing with the people who are hiring.
So many people were bent over or just hurt over Morbius. Morbius flopped, but guess what though? Morbius was still entertaining. My only problem is that it was the same story that we had in Venom by Sony. Bad symbiote, good symbiote. Bad vampire, good vampire. It was just
acting.
It was a cliche story, and then we had a tie-in with Michael Keaton's character, Vulture, that went nowhere because it was abandoned.
Yeah, there was no reason for them to know each other. I mean,
the reason was because they were originally going to do a Sinister Six, but then Marvel and Disney said, no, we're not gonna do that.
That's the second time they set that up, because they set that up with the Andrew Garfield movies, and then they set it up with they're going to set it up with this one. They set it up and then didn't pull the trigger twice.
Yeah, but
the best thing the Muppets ever did was Farscape, by the way.
Yes, I agree. Farscape is one of the things, and that was Brian. That wasn't Jim.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about the other day. I was watching that video. I was like, the Muppets used to be huge, Jim Henson and all this stuff, and now it's just like they're an afterthought. I don't really hear anybody talking about them or being. I don't see them on any shows. Sesame Street. I don't know if that's still on anymore. Did that finally end?
It's on some sort of cable channel now or something.
So it's on PBS more. So kids don't have access to it unless they're watching it their streaming app. It just feels just weird. Like the Muppets, like I said, that Jim Henson, it was a huge part of our culture, and now it's an afterthought.
Of course, my two favorite Muppets are the old men.
Now, if you bring up the Muppets, and there's a lot of people who are fans of the Muppets, is that there's no place to go to. I mean, maybe Disney Plus might have the Muppet Show on there, but there's nothing new being put out. Yeah. There's no Muppet Show on right now. There's no Muppet movies. It fizzled out in the 2000s.
Yeah,
it's kind of sad.
Well, not much lasts forever.
I know.
And the Muppets heyday has come and gone, and
it's kind of depressing.
And I think the Muppets themselves started to decline a little bit with the Jim's death, because he did a lot of the voices and stuff.
When Jim took over, I said one of the reasons that SNL skit failed on was because that the Saturday Night Live writers had this contract, and they're basically bastards. They like well, no, we're not going to let Jim write the script for this show. We're going to do it ourselves. Blah blah blah. And I remember interviews with Jim Brewer saying that's why SNL was going down the tubes, because people were backstabbing each other, stealing other people's ideas. Jim almost murdered a few people because these writers would come in and they'd occasionally just steal your ideas and pass off of their own. And he had it happen to him once. He's like, and he called him out. He's like, "You're not gonna fucking take my idea, you know." And just like, and his wife's like, "Dude, it's like, you used to be so happy. It's just a dream." He's like, "Well, it's because now I'm surrounded by this disgusting people that don't care. They're not humans. They're vultures." And that's kind of why Jim Brewer kind of left SNL, and yeah, I imagine a lot of alumni probably are kind of glad they're not in there anymore, because look at the way it is. Especially, unless you're a writer, you are a comedian and you have to do whatever the writer's skit is, and it's it's favoritism. Who gets their skit on the air and who doesn't. But also because you also have the executives at the top who remember you can't do certain things. But I don't know. Like I said, it's Saturday Night Live for me All I consume now is clips because I refuse to sit down for 2 hours on Saturday night or whatever it's on and waste my time.
Yeah, it hasn't been funny in years.
I like it.
Mad TV was. I loved Mad TV.
I liked. I see. I didn't like Mad TV. I thought Mad TV was okay in clips too. It was all right. I thought, like I said, SNL for me, but back in the '90s was fun. It was fun. You know, when you still had Mike Myers as part of the cast and stuff.
Yeah, and one of my favorite comedians was the news guy, Dennis Miller, and Norm Macdonald.
Norm Macdonald, and then Neil McDonald. Kevin Nealon.
Yeah,
Norm Macdonald and Kevin Nealon are my favorites.
Subliminal Man.
Colin Quinn was okay. I liked him. But yeah, I don't know. Some people like. I mean, I didn't really. I wasn't alive. I wasn't watching the Chevy Chase weekend updates, but I heard those are funny too. But I think Norm Macdonald pushed the envelope on that. He just made it fun.
He got himself fired because he refused to stop making
certain jokes. Yeah.
O.J. Simpson jokes.
But
yeah, well, Lorne Michaels and O.J. Simpson were friends.
Yeah. Hey, get to see on camera again this week.
Yeah. And the early days of Saturday Night Live were really good. I don't, Jackson, but since I don't really have anything to show anymore, and I can't pick up Coco because she. I would say,
hang a wire up above her, and then maybe she'll jump up.
Yeah, what entertainment did I consume today? No comics, but yeah, this 1951 crime novel.
Hold on, I'll give you a full screen there. You see that?
From Richard S. Prather, part of the Shel Scott series.
That's funny.
He gets all the dames.
Nice.
He's now watched Touch of Evil.
Ooh. Nice.
My
Janet Leigh.
Wow. Excellent movie.
I popped for Charlton Heston, and I was like, "Ooh, Janet Leigh's in there too." I was like, "I gotta see it." I've never seen that movie.
You still haven't seen it?
I watched there was a Dark City one back in the day.
Okay, well, watch it, and then when you see Orson Welles waddling around,
and
you realize he was 43 years old.
Wow.
When he made that movie, and he looks 70.
Wasn't he
The Third Man?
Wasn't he also a heavy drinker too, Orson Welles? That's why he kind of looked that way.
No, he liked he must have been a heavy eater too, because he grew to gargantuan proportions.
Yeah.
But remember that at one time he was a handsome enough leading man to where he was married to Rita Hayworth.
Wow.
He's the one that cut off all of her hair for Lady from Shanghai.
Oh.
And that was you thought it was a big deal when Kerry Russell cut off all her hair on Felicity?
Yeah.
Nah, Rita Hayworth, that's the original.
Yeah. Twitter, there's that one Twitter ad site or account that's been uploading solid stuff. I also found like 3 more off of that thing, and all they just post is updates, and just like old photos and videos.
Oh, that so the channel that I turned on to, or
yeah, and then there's a couple more I've been that I found more through that too as well. There's one on Instagram. It's like the golden age of Hollywood or whatever, and it has like all these older bloopers I've never seen of old movies. Nice. Where the actors all of a sudden they start swearing "fuck," and then it's like I didn't think blooper reels existed back then, or at least were even recorded, and I thought they were just,
It just probably weren't all that big of a thing back then.
Well, there was no DVDs. Commentary say no reason to really hang on to it probably, but it was like somebody did, and it was just kind of funny seeing those old black and white movies, and then someone's supposed to come and say and they forget their line, and then they're like, "Son of a bitch," and they're like, "Oops, I'm not supposed to say that." It's like,
hey, I just wanted to chime in on the thing that's going on in the chat. Miranda, from what I understand, the original script for Galaxy Quest was written for the TOS cast. I mean, Tim Allen was supposed to be Shatner, Dane was supposed to be Spock, and all that. But the studios or somebody, they all turned it down or something happened, so they had to rewrite it. And that's from what I understand. But then that's why they got everyone else involved.
Oh man,
They had to rewrite.
And Laserdisc. Wow. I remember a Laserdisc in the early 90s.
Oh yeah.
The teacher would wheel in. I'm like, where's the VCR? What is this crap? It's a big giant Laserdisc, and that's how we watch movies.
I had a friend who had a Laserdisc player. And it's like you remember going through the Laserdiscs at this place, and it's like going through the vinyl section of the record store because it's the same size. And stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. And it's like a DVD tray pops open.
And then you had to, like, I remember we watched Star Trek. We rented Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock, and there's a scene where we had to turn it over, and it's like there's a big scene where the planet's exploding and this trees jumping up.
Cut it right in the middle of that scene.
You turn it over, it cut like right in the middle of the scene. It's like,
right.
Jeff.
Yes.
Do you have an all-time favorite movie or an all-time top 5 or anything like that?
Yeah. For some reason, I think The Crow is in top. I don't know. The Crow's in there. I'd have to think about it, but I love Memento. I don't watch that as much as I should. But I'd have to sit down and think about it. But there are like top 5 favorite movies that The Crow would be on it, but I don't know what else right now off the top of my head.
I noticed they were relatively newer movies. Like 9 of my top 10 were made before I was born.
Pop some off for me.
Favorite movie is North by Northwest. That should be obvious if you just look behind me.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Second is probably The Apartment. I think that's kind of jumped the line. Then Touch of Evil, Anatomy of a Murder, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. Burl Ives' performance is just, fantastic in that. And, Elizabeth Taylor in slinky gowns for 2 hours doesn't suck.
No, it does not.
And all kidding aside, Paul Newman's fantastic in it. Jack Carson, who's usually a song and dance comedy guy, does a great dramatic turn as Burl Ives' other son, he has 2 sons, Jack Carson and Paul Newman. Jack Carson does everything right. Paul Newman does everything wrong. But, of course, Burl Ives' favorite is the Paul Newman character. And anyway, so it's in that nice Rear Window, Casablanca, Diner, which is, not 1982.
Yeah.
Witness for the Prosecution, and 12 Angry Men.
Now, Rear Window, I love. There's been a couple of modern I don't want to say remakes because it's not the same thing, but there's this, versions of it. But there's one with Steve. Who's the guy from Police Academy movies? Steve Guttenberg.
Yeah.
There's a movie with Steve Guttenberg in it and Elizabeth Montgomery, I think her name is, where Steve Guttenberg is a guy who's having an affair with his boss's wife, played by this French actress, and she's over at his house, and she sees this woman starting to get about to get raped, and the woman escapes, and she can't report it because she's not supposed to be at the house. So Steve Guttenberg reports it, saying he saw it, and has to rely on what the boss is. And so it's sort of the whole thing like that movie. It was really good. It came out with in the same year that Wanted Dead or Alive came out because I saw the two of them together. But it's a really suspenseful movie. I've got an autographed DVD, autographed VHS copy of it from Steve Gutenberg.
Trying to find that. Oh,
No, he was great in Diner. You gonna finish that?
let's see here.
See who there's him. There's Paul Reiser. Was Kevin Bacon was in it, wasn't he?
Kevin Bacon, Mickey Rourke, Ellen Barkin, Daniel Stearns, and Tim Daly.
Daniel Stern, the voice of the Wonder Years. Was it the Wonder Years?
Yeah, and he was also one of the burglars in Home Alone, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of voices, Tim Daly was the voice of Superman
Yes.
in a lot of Superman cartoons.
Wasn't he opposite Clancy Brown as
He was in a movie called Seven Girlfriends. I remember that. It was like a really weird comedy. Tim Daly. And making basically making up for his past mistakes with the ex-girlfriends. It's a really weird 90s movie, but the one I said talking about movies, new movies are I'd say favorites because I have a lot. I can't really narrow it down, but you and I reviewed It Happened on Fifth Avenue this past Christmas, and that's shot up. That's one of my favorite movies now.
Oh yeah, I purposely don't count any of the holiday movies.
I know, but I know
it's hard because I watch Holiday Affair. It Happened on Fifth Avenue. Bell Book and Candle, I've seen half a dozen times.
Shop Around the Corner.
Kind of like their own category.
Yeah.
okay?
But A Secret of the Incas with Charlton Heston, Nicole Mori. Then I'm like, dude, this Spirit of St. Louis is another one I like. And then this any Bogart film. Any Bogart I like.
Speaking of Christmas holiday films, there's the big argument. Die Hard.
Here's my answer. If you watch something and it makes you feel like it's Christmas, it's a Christmas movie. If you want to call it that, call it that. If the guy next to you doesn't want to, he doesn't have to.
Yeah.
That to me, that's the most circular, just pointless argument whether or not something's a Christmas movie. It's a Christmas movie if it makes you feel like Christmas. You know, it's hell. Like, Aaron tries to argue that It's a Wonderful Life isn't a Christmas movie. Well, what if that isn't? What is?
Yeah, that's a given on that one. But see, you see the first two Lethal Weapon movies are supposedly. But here's why I say the Die Hard is a Christmas movie, because it's Christmas Eve and the guy is going from cross country to try and make amends with his wife or his estranged wife at a Christmas party at Christmas time. That is why it is.
His Christmas gift saves her life.
And I know the argument is Christmas. It just happens to be the backdrop. It could have been said at any point in the year. It just happens to be Christmas. But then again, you can say that about a lot of Christmas movies.
Unless it has something to do with Santa Claus, it's not a Christmas movie apparently to a lot of people.
I mean, Holiday Affair, Christmas is part of it, but it's not the main part of it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a main plot point, but the plot point of the two of them realizing they're in love with each other and hooking up on New Year's Eve. I mean, but to me, that's so much of that movie takes place on Christmas Day that it's a Christmas movie. It just is, and Holiday. It happened on Fifth Avenue. Christmas is just one of the scenes in the movie, but that's kind of like the centerpiece of the movie. So it's something I'll watch every year as long as I'm around.
Yeah, like so as far as
many more years there, Brad.
Like I love a lot of stuff. I mean, I love Bride of Frankenstein, The Invisible Man, Claude Rains. Like those Adventures of Robin Hood with Errol Flynn. Mask of Zorro with Antonio Banderas. I mean, there's a lot of movies. I can't really narrow it down, but I said I like Ghostbusters. I don't like Ghostbusters 2, you know. But like I said, as far as favorite movies, obviously I do love Ghostbusters, the idea and franchise. Like not just because of the movie, but I also like the cartoon, the comic books, and all that stuff. But as far as movies, I said movie genres go, like I just give me any Bogart film and I'll put it on. Like The Big Sleep, I love that. That's really good. Dark Passage.
They did a remake of The Big Sleep in the late 70s with Robert Mitchum and Jimmy Stewart.
Wow.
Mitchum was playing. That's Philip Marlowe, isn't it?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he plays a very old version. I mean, I think Lionel Barrymore played him in The Big Sleep, but Jimmy Stewart plays him in the remake. If I'm getting this correct.
Yeah.
See,
Miranda brings up The Great Escape. I wasn't a fan of it. I know that's probably sacrilegious. I just wasn't a big
that since I was a kid, so it's not one that I've gone back and watched.
I still haven't seen Papillion, and Henry. No, I've not seen The Longest Yard yet. I watched Cool Hand Luke.
Yes, I know. I gotta watch The Naked Jungle. I did look it up. I do have access to it, so I will get to it. Yeah. So, Megan, have you seen? You've seen the remake of 12 Angry Men, but not the original, right?
Yeah, I've seen the remake. So the guy from Felix Unger guy.
Yeah,
Jack Lemmon.
Jack Lemmon.
Yeah.
That's the original, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, the original's Henry Fonda.
Yeah.
That's right.
Speaking of original movies, I did watch Manhunter this year, finally, for the first time. I thought that was really cool.
The movie? The Michael Mann movie?
Yeah, the Michael Mann movie.
Yeah, I've seen that. That's the one with that's the guy from William Peterson from
William Peterson, yeah. To Live and
CSI, the original CSI.
Yeah, I also watched Men to Live and Die in LA.
Oh, that's a great movie.
Yeah. Oh. So I never really I saw Manhunter and I was like, after I watched On the Lambs, I really didn't care to go back and watch that character. And I'm like, but he's a glorified serial killer, and everybody's like, oh, he's so great. And I'm like, he's disgusting.
They redid the silence. They called it Red Dragon.
Red Dragon, yes.
That was the way the book. I read the book.
But Michael Mann's Manhunter was so much better than Silence of the Lambs, in my opinion.
But Michael Mann the guy's a fantastic director.
And then you had the guy Noonan, whatever, Tom Noonan was like the serial killer in that one. It was and then it's just a betrayal of Hannibal Lecter and stuff was really cool in their portrayal. Like it didn't need him. They didn't need him to escape from prison and all that stuff. He just had to be there, and he was able to just mess with William Peterson's character and stuff the whole entire time, adding to that. And said William Peterson is a good actor. I loved him in. I still think his best movie though is To Live and Die in LA. I liked him in that.
It's been a while since I've seen that movie.
What's his name is the bad guy? The guy who played Green Goblin. Trying to blank now.
Oh,
I know, right? It's like I blank. I can know any other day. Like just when I think of it's like I can't remember what it is.
The one that everyone thinks would be a great Joker.
Yes.
Yeah.
Somebody. Who is the Green Goblin in the Sam Raimi movies?
In the what?
Sam Raimi movies. The Green Goblin guy.
William Dafoe.
William Dafoe, yeah.
Yeah.
He's the villain in To Live and Die in
LA. He's one of those guys that can just be a villain. Doesn't even need to try to be a villain. I mean, you take like Christopher Walken, you take Jack Nicholson, you take a couple of those guys, they can just sit there and they could be villain. They could read their phone book and be some evil villain motherfuckers.
Yeah. Other movies I used to watch back in the 2000s was Confidence with Edward Burns. He's another actor that kind of fizzled out.
Oh yeah, I haven't heard from him in ages.
Just I used to watch a lot of the Stephen Baldwin movies back in the day too. But
the only good movie he was in was Casa
Oh,
Jose.
Oh, was he in Biodome?
No, the usual suspects.
The usual
Usual
suspects.
Suspects. Okay, that's what. Yeah.
One of my favorite lines out of that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Lee Harvey Oswald was a fag.
Wasn't there a Baldwin in Biodome with Paul
Yeah,
Schrader?
it was him. I think it was the
Yeah,
same
I was
one.
gonna
Yeah, same guy.
Oh yeah, I heard about Alec Baldwin. Was driving in a car accident with his brother.
Yeah, he ran into it. He ran it. He was
driving
he
too
was-
fast for conditions, and he ran off the road, and because I guess he was just gonna try and go past them, and then
he got cut off by a garbage truck. Yeah, dude.
I don't think he got cut off. I think
That's what he said that he said he got cut off by it. It's like, dude, it's a garbage truck. You don't get cut off by it.
So I heard in the latest reports that the tree is going to jail.
Hmm.
It was
Tree is lucky he didn't have a gun, or else he would have shot the tree.
no, the tree was at fault. He wouldn't have crashed if the tree wasn't there. So, and all garbage trucks are now banned. Yep. But Cincinnati Kid. Oh, that's
I saw that movie once. It was 1965.
It's making me think of the Stephen King movie.
Best Stephen King adapted movie. Silver Bullet.
In the wheelchair.
Yep.
Goat car thing. Gary Busey is no.
Well, I know he didn't 100% make Creep Show, so I'm not going to count that. Christine's my favorite.
I think it was which movie? I think one movie that he directed. He said he was so high on cocaine he couldn't remember directing it.
Langoliers? I don't
know. No, he didn't direct that one. I think that was may have been Creep Show or the one about the trucks.
Man,
Maximum Overdrive.
Yeah.
Stephen King, before he even came out and all his little speaking his weird politics and all stuff, looking at him and he was younger, he always looked like the kid that was playing D&D and never had a girlfriend.
But it's so funny. Some of his best. He says he wrote like 2 or 3 books. He doesn't even remember writing them. He was so jacked on drugs.
Now he looks like Janet Reno.
Yeah, or Janet Reno looks like him. One of the two.
Well, I would say Janet Reno's not on anymore, or maybe she is. We don't know. He had an interview with the guy, just a J.R.R. Martin, the guy who was writing Lord of the Rings. Not Lord of the Rings.
George R.R. Martin.
No, he didn't.
Wasn't he Game of Thrones guy?
Game of Thrones guy. Yeah, they had a sit down talk, and and Stephen King was talking about a couple years back him and J.K. Rowling. We're at this convention thing, in New York and stuff, and they're getting ready to go on and do a thing, and basically he said actually some kind words about J.K. Rowling, which I thought was kind of crazy, because conversation is about how do they able to keep putting books out because and Stephen King is like, well, here's the thing, I do 6 pages a day no matter what, that's as long, and I did that for 2 or 3 months and I was able to get a book. That's how I get books out every single time, all the time. But anyway, he did a interview. And he was with J.K. Rowling there, and J.K. Rowling was constantly being interrupted by her publisher or whatever, and she says she says Stephen, and she's like, it's like, I don't think these people understand what we do here. It's like it's like it constantly interrupting me because they want to improve on this and this. He's like, I want 5 minutes of to loan to myself to do this. It's like, you can wait, and Stephen King made a thing about it. He's like, well, she's right, because a lot of us writers, we don't even know how we do what we do. We just do it, we put it out, and then we hope for the best. So if you're looking to be a writer, pretty much he said it's like you're better off self-publishing. Well, and
I have this theory
because you can't just go back in the day, you can't just go give your script to somebody and hope that maybe they're gonna gonna think, because a lot of times they just steal your script.
Well, if you take a look at, say, Stephen King, or insert any other really, 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 really big name writer, look at their early works, like Carrie and all those things, 200-300 pages max. right? Very tight, very, well done story. They're really good.
Very small print too.
And crisp, just it moves along. Then you're sitting there, you're doing this. Laurel K. Hamilton does that now. I don't know if you know who she is or not. No. Stephen King. Then your next book comes out. It's like 8 million pages, and nothing is cut out. They get it in the contracts that they don't need an editor anymore and stuff. And you're sitting there reading, and the same stuff is happening, being said over and over and over again. It's like, dude, we read this stuff like 40 pages ago. Yeah. It annoys the hell out of me. It's just, if you ever get big, get an editor. Don't fucking.
See, that's why you should read Richard Prather, because these books had a formula. They were all between 160 and 200 pages.
I mean, I don't mind a long book, but it's just, when it's just, the same.
A what book?
Huh?
What did you say? A what book?
I don't mind a long book, with a bunch of pages. Some of the stuff that they just, they say the same stuff. They keep repeating the same things over and over again in the same book. And there's just a bunch of shit in there you don't need. But it's like Breen said, those ones, stuff like that, you need to hit a certain point by a certain point in the book in order for it to work. So they can't have all that extra stuff in it.
Yeah.
Henry's brand. Did you see the meme where this guy and this girl's in bed and he's saying, Lord of the Rings. He keeps mentioning stuff like that. And she goes, oh, great. He's Tolkien in his sleep again. Did you that was the butt of one of the biggest things on oh my god, who are the two guys who do the character Tolkien, the black guy on South Park? There's one black character, they kept calling him Tolkien, and for the years they thought it was just because it was the Tolkien black guy. But then they finally, at one point, they go and introduce his family, and he was named Tolkien because his parents were fans of J.R.R. Tolkien, so they called him Tolkien. That was his name.
Great.
It was actually kind of funny.
I was just thinking, it'd be great to have writers on, because I loved. If you guys have not checked out Mark Millar's kind of channel, he had writers talking with writers. I would love, because I always see celebrities, they have their roundtable discussions. I would love to see Chris Claremont and and Chuck Dixon and a few others just shooting the shit and talking about just their writing styles and stuff, and compare them, and it's that's what you do, because I wonder how many of them are a similar process how they write.
And I'd like to see Munch in there too.
Who?
Munch.
Doug Mensch.
Oh, Doug Mensch. Okay, I was like, who's Munch? Munch.
Sorry, I was just mispronouncing it.
Well, Munch, that's Richard Belzer's character on Homicide, and then Law and Order.
Yeah. But you notice that none of those guys will probably ever get to write a book again, or at least from the.
Oh no, Chuck Dixon's still writing. So is Mike Barron.
The Ripperverse, isn't he?
Yeah. Mike Barron is just doing some stuff for EVS still.
Yeah, at this point, the Chuck Dixons of the world wouldn't get any work at Marvel and DC as much for their age as their politics, because Roger Stern can't get work. You're right, Doug Mensch will never get another book, and because they feel like they don't translate into this modern style. And to be fair, the audience they've been cultivating probably wouldn't appreciate these guys.
Stan Jurgens on a DC contract exclusive. They can't do anything else. I haven't seen anything from him lately.
Didn't Dan Jurgens write that Tarzan book 2 years ago?
Yeah, but that was 2 years ago. My point.
He doesn't have to do a lot. He probably works when he wants to.
I'm just saying, I would love to see more stories by him.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's another one of those coming, another one of the series. Tarzan's with.
I would love it. He's doing Tarzan, but I would love to see him over at Titans, with Jim Zub and things like that over there.
I don't know if he'd be a good Conan writer or not,
Well, not just Conan. He could do a spinoff. You know.
but I think he's a great capes writer, and he does. And the surprised me at how good the Tarzan was, but
Yeah, Lord of the Jungle is it's awesome. It is an awesome book. Man. But
he's probably the only out. Wow. San Diego kicked a field goal to go from being up 24 to being up 27 with 2 minutes to go in the fourth quarter.
What were they playing?
It's kind of a dick move.
But yeah, I mean, I would love to see Dan Jurgens. Well, actually, no. Actually, I take it back. Dan Jurgens has been writing something. Well, it just finally came out. Is that second night? So,
Yeah, I was gonna say. I thought that.
He's probably the only out conservative working at DC.
Well, yeah, I think they're all around. Well, I don't know if Johns is he's out a conservative. But,
Johns is not a conservative, but
they don't. But
he's just not a. He's not an activist. He's a liberal Democrat, but he's not.
But he's also not with DC anymore, is he?
No, he left. Yeah, he's out. Ghost Machine is his thing.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Ghost Machine is the new Image, in a sense. Yeah.
Well, Ghost Machine is in Image, but yeah.
Well, Image publishes it, but Ghost Machine's his own entity. Yeah. So. But I mean, like, it's kind of like when they broke away. All the writers, like I said, were Rob Life and all of them broke away.
The DC with letting him go is they're shooting themselves in the foot. They can't. They're good talent because they won't toe the line or something like that. They're letting leave.
Here's the other thing I was here too. People always say like it takes Jeff Johns forever to finish the story, and I don't know if that's really the case with him or it's artists, or is this DC dragging their feet because they have some kind of identity.
Sometimes you need that. Sometimes a story. You can't rush certain good stories. Sometimes they need to.
The point I was saying is the last one we were complaining about was that Stargirl lost children. It took forever to come out, and by the time people lost interest, and because if he was on his way, the rumor was he was going to leave. Maybe that's why they were doing it, because just to make him look bad, so no one would go buy his books. Because look, he's late and everything.
They kind of forced him.
Yeah,
they turned down his Ghost Machine imprint.
Yep.
And then recruited Justia Axelrod and Gretchen Felker Martin. That said, half of DC there's an activist wing at that company that will sabotage them at every turn.
And maybe the sale of this new sale that's coming up, they'll clean house on both the comic and
why bother? Yeah, comics don't move a decimal point.
They're not like they used to. Well, and remember, they're all IP farms. They don't even care about the comic books. The comic books were if they were not considered IP farms, like there's what's the name? What Schumer was talking about, they would actually be much more profitable, maybe more sought off after. But everyone just turned them into just an IP, and they care more about selling T-shirts and toys.
Well, that's if you actually read the Knives from Brubaker. He talks about that shit at the first part of the story.
Yeah.
Have you read that yet, Bryn?
Nope, still sealed.
Okay.
I'm saving it. I don't know what I'm saving it for,
but he scathing indictment of Hollywood on stuff like that.
I wonder if that's interesting because he's got something coming out on Amazon.
Read the thing that he makes some comments on that in the back of the book. It's connected.
I'm really curious to see how. I hope it's good
because it seems like it's been coming out for years, supposedly.
Yeah, it does.
But just from what I don't know how close what happens in the story is to real life, but it's not giving me any hope from what he writes in the story. But who knows?
Yeah. Also, I'm going to plug her here quickly for Wes doesn't mean to do it, but I know. But this is Wes's latest video. I just put in the chat there. That is actually him talking about Jim Shooter. I predicted everything was going to go, and it's very educational. You should listen to it.
Is it the one where it says he was right? I think it was called.
Yeah. Yes. This is the one. Yeah, it's very informative, and Jim Shooter talking about how they in the '90s they decided they wanted to turn it into an IP farm. They didn't care really about the stories. It was more about selling everything else and just making it a Hollywood and all this stuff. And it just he said you're going to ruin the company, and you're going to ruin the comic books. You're going to lose customers, and then he talk about this distribution and all stuff. Jim Shooter was predicting it back in the '90s, the future comic books, in 2025. He was right. And he had and this is all from a book that he wrote and published. So, very informative. And then if you want to see the follow up to that, go check out Richard Meyer making some fart joke probably, and having a where he basically makes fun of it and says, "Oh, people are going to see comic books all day," and it's like it's the best thing ever. There's droves going in. No, what people are buying today, and I see it all the time, I watch them at the comic book stores. They're grabbing 4 or 5 copies of a book because they want the variant covers. They don't care about the story. It's all about flipping the variant covers, getting them graded, slabbed, and then flipping them and try to sell them. Or they hang on to them. They go, "Oh, is this going to be a movie soon?" I don't think the MCU is going to last that much longer, and I think DC's last chance with James Gunn is probably going to fizzle out, and after that, you're going to see maybe occasional movie here and there, but I don't think you're going to see the superhero genre in movies. Probably it'll be gone within 15 years or so.
I've been saying that this whole variant cover thing is becoming it was leading to the '90s crash that Image did. I've been saying that for a while because people don't give about what's inside
Jeff, I don't want live action movies anymore. I want the animated back. And I'm really excited with Nightfall. I guess it's going to be 3 or 4 parts. Jeremy Adams is writing the script for this, for the Batman Nightfall story, be adapted into animated form. Now, I'll just see. I'm not really crazy on the animation they decided they're going to do with the movies.
Yeah.
But if the story is good as Nightfall was, I think it's going to be great. And I really hope they use Tim Drake and not freaking and Damian. But I've heard from other people saying that Jeremy Adams says that Damian's not involved. It's going to be Tim Drake. So
because he wasn't. He wasn't.
He wasn't
around at the time.
Yeah, exactly. Well, remember how they try to shoehorn with the 2 and all stuff. This, like I said, I'm really hoping that this turns out to be well, and it just jumpstarts the DC animated universe again. Because
tell you what, Marvel was winning in the live action, and DC kicked ass in the animation.
Marvel is just copying the DC, or actually no. So Marvel decided to do their own Disney stuff. They're releasing the season 2 of X-Men '97, and then I don't know if we're ever going to get a continuation of Spider-Man. Of the animated series. They teased it in the X-Men '97 for the first season, but I'm not holding my breath for that. Even though the voice actors are still alive today and they could do it, the only one is out there is Ed Asner as Jameson, but they could easily get J.K. Simmons to fill in the role. Everybody loves J.K. Simmons, and they would allow it. But
he can do anything.
But like I said, DC animated for a while was the hotter thing. That was better than the comic books for a while.
Yeah.
The cartoons of the '90s. Now, not to say that there wasn't great comic books going in the '90s. Brain talked about it. No Man's Land was phenomenal. With Chuck Dixon, Cassandra Cain's first appearance, all that stuff was going on.
I think No Man's Land was better than Nightfall. Actually, that's my opinion. But
yeah, I didn't care for the whole Azrael thing, but I guess it was all part of a story. I guess just to get it was weird because you had the Batman breaks his back and then Superman gets killed, goes back to life. That was like what?
They wanted to have. They were saying that they didn't want Bruce Wayne to be Batman anymore, so that's why they did that thing.
Well, yeah, and then there was, like I said, Chuck Dixon had said, talking about they wanted Superman to come in and be the new Batman in Gotham. It was like they're like, no, you're gone. So like I said, I love watching that stuff, and it look at I forget it's called Miller World, Millar
Millar.
World is as one word, and yeah, and just watch Mark Millar's interviews with all these different writers. It's very fun, you know. So watch it instead of reading Mark Waid's DC the Universe history of the DC Universe. Go watch Mark Millar's channel. You probably learn more about comic books there. But overall, though, yeah, Richard's boy Zach claims that Wes is a tourist. Yeah, when I saw that comment, I was like, he doesn't know Wes at all. Wes is not Wes is a comic book nerd. He's proven it many times. Every video he talks about stuff. It's not. He does research.
He calls him that because Wes didn't get into comics until he was, I think, 30.
You know what? I didn't get comics until I was 20. You know?
Yeah, so that's.
I didn't have access to comic books. My comic books I could have got was been Radioactive Man and some other ones at the grocery store when I was 5 years old.
And Richard have in common? Neither one of them go into comic book shops. But Wes is because he lives in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Richard because he pirates everything. And he's a virtual shut-in.
That's the thing too. Richard could have went to any comic book store. Wes literally had an arm and a leg just to get a book shipped to him.
Right. Richard's just, like I say, he's lost the plot. Anyway, guys, I'm going to jump off here. It's 11:30. Watch a little bit of second.
All right. I forgot it's senior home. You guys, you got to go to bed early.
Yeah, I've got to do some laundry for clean clothes for work tomorrow, and
yeah.
Found a note on my door when I came in today saying 24-hour notice of entry. They need to. I've got a window that I think is leaking heat and stuff, so I want to try and at least make my place look semi-decent before they come in.
If this is true though, the whole Ron Perlman thing. If Jim Shooter would have got control, bought Marvel, man, that would have been awesome. I guarantee you wouldn't have any of this woke writers and all that stuff, all that crap. Jim Shooter would be like, nope, we're not doing this shit.
He wouldn't have been able to hold on to it any longer than Disney would have still ended up with it. But it would definitely have changed the course of the 90s. And maybe they would have survived enough to us not to have to sell their characters to Image.
Well, I guess Jim said. Remember, they were just buying all these different companies and then just shelving the stuff. It's like, what was the point of that? That was you wasting your money. Yeah. But anyway, we're gonna end it here though. What's with the shocked face, Maranya? But anyway, if you guys want to give us a like and subscribe, we'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow night's reading, of course, we have no Pixel. We also have no Trusty. So, you know what that means, Reen?
World's Finest.
Exactly. That wonderful cover.
Yeah. Where's Pixel?
Working the whole weekend.
So
we're a Pixel Trusty-less weekend.
Oh, he's not here Sunday either?
Yeah. Trusty's gone from yesterday or Wednesday all the way through Sunday. So, and Pixel has to work this weekend at Publix, where working is a pleasure.
Where's our fourth tonight?
Working.
Zach working tonight?
Yeah, he works in like insurance stuff or something like that. So it's his busy season every year.
Yeah, it's tire season for us.
He must get tired of that eventually.
Well, actually, all I'm doing is driving stuff to the shops and stuff.
All right, guys. We're ending it, and we'll see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern. Take care.
See you.
Stay warm.